When I got fired as a software engineer in November 2021, I started to build a side project. Fast forward to today, I launched 21 side projects, 10 of them became profitable startups, and I'm now earning $55,000 a month as a solo entrepreneur. In this video, I am going to share how I get startup ideas and why building them really fast was the key to 5x my software engineer salary. Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about how to find startup ideas. There are 3 ways to find them. The first one is to solve your own problems. Let me illustrate this with an example. Those are all my 21 side projects and 10 of them are making money. And one of the most common customer requests I receive is, can I get a proper invoice? I work with Stripe to process all the payments that go through my startups. And sometimes the receipt is not enough and mostly Europeans, want to have an invoice that is properly formatted. And as a business owner, this is not a very fun part, so I'm building ZenVoice. It's a little wrapper around the Stripe API that gives Stripe business owners a special link that they can send to their customers where they input their email addresses, and then they can retrieve all the purchases they've made with the business. And then they can see the invoice, they can edit some details to it, add their name or their business detail like VAT number, all that kind of things, and they can download their invoice and they're happy. This is my way of solving my own problems, and yours might be different. So you might want to look at what's going on around in your life that you can solve. A perfect example to do that is to look around if you have a job, what's going on there. Maybe it could be a little piece of software for your team to be more productive during meeting using an AI video summary tool or something like that. There are a bunch of problems that you can search around. If this is not in your job, you can look around in your hobbies, for instance. Maybe you feel lonely playing tennis by yourself and you need to find partners that are relevant skills with you, and you could make an app to find some of those people. Those kind of ideas are the best because first, if your startup fails, you still end up having a solution to your own problem, so you're happy with that. And second, it's much easier to sell a software or a product if you speak the language of your customer. So if it's for a problem that you've been experiencing. Sometimes you might not have any problem in mind and you want to solve universal problems. What I call universal problems are problems like every businesses want to make more money, and everybody in life wants to have good quality sleep, eat healthy food, and read books or be productive. Those are problems that pretty much anyone could experience, and those are a good way to get started in entrepreneurship if you don't find any problem. So for instance, that's how I made my first internet dollar. I used to work with escape room businesses, and I used to sell them a mini tool, like a little piece of software that will help improve the conversions on their websites. I do not care about the escape room industry at all whatsoever, but I found out that if I manage to get more money for some businesses, so universal need, using one of my software products, then this is a perfect combo. They're happy, I'm happy. This is a quick demo. This is one of my customer that is actually still paying after 5 years. For my software. This is an escape room business, and they use my software. At the bottom left, this little key here will be shown to every visitor, and if you visit the website of the escape room business, you'll be able to play an escape room, a small online escape room game on the business website. So this is a tool that just intend to convert, to have some fun, engaging game for visitors and to convert those visitors into more customers. And in average, businesses that I work with would get 10% more customers from their website, which is really great. I ended up ditching the business because I have no specific care for the escape rooms industry, but that was a really great way to get started into entrepreneurship because you still have to build a product, do the marketing, launching, and all that. And in the case you have no problem that you want to solve, and you don't want to do this, like solving those universal problems, there's nothing that comes to your mind, you can try experiencing a brand new life. That means traveling abroad and meeting new people. That means starting a new hobby. Try new stuff with an open mind where you will experience new problems that will come to your life, and that could bring you some startups ideas. Once you get an idea, the next part is to actually build it. And we're going to talk about this to make sure that you build it fast. So in the case it's a flop, you don't burn out. All right, so let me tell you a little story. When I started entrepreneurship in 2016, I believed I was Mark Zuckerberg, and I had a secret, brilliant idea in mind that was going to become a unicorn. After spending a year in my bedroom building that idea, I ended up having 0 users and $0 in revenue. I burned out. I quit the product. I couldn't see it anymore. I also left my girlfriend and travel to a new country and change my life. The thing is, when you spend so much time building a product, the brain starts to have some expectations. And the more time you spend on it, the more your expectations will be. So the better the reward will be expected. And if the reward isn't coming, as it's mostly the case in entrepreneurship, you will burn out. And you want to avoid that at all costs. And the second reason is that most startups fail. The main reason is that people don't actually need the startup. I think the number is around 90% of startups fail. So you want to avoid losing your time on something that might not even work out. And so that's why building and shipping fast is very important. And at the same time, when you ship fast, you're going to learn how to market your startups, how to launch it, how to handle customer support, tax, legal, and a bunch of other things that will be useful for the future. And at the same time, if you like, sharing what you learn along the way, you can grow a little audience like I did in the last 2 years on my Twitter, where now I have over 70K followers because I was sharing everything that I was doing and learning, just like I'm doing now on YouTube. All right, so now that we've set up the mindset, it's important to know which feature you will or will not build. And as a general rule of thumb, build just one feature. That feature that you cannot remove from your product, otherwise it just doesn't exist. So for every feature that you have in mind, ask yourself, is it necessary for the users to have this feature? If the answer is yes, keep it. But if it's not a necessary, like absolute necessary feature, just remove it. Let's get to a concrete example of ZenVoice, the startup that I'm building right now. The goal is to simplify Stripe invoices for small business owners like me. And the main feature is just this. People input their email and they get their invoice from Stripe. I have a bunch of other ideas for ZenVoice. Also, business owners to be able to view all the invoices that have been generated, to simplify the tax thing, to interact with the Stripe API, to upload those invoices. And apps, like really a numerous number of features that I want to implement, but I'm going to launch with just one feature. This one that I just showed you right now, which is generating invoices. That way, I will be able to launch my startup faster, to get customers' feedback earlier, and it's likely that nobody will actually need the product. Maybe it's just me, or maybe I'm faking a need in my head and nobody will want to use it. So this is why I will spend about 2 weeks finishing the product, launch it, and see how the market reacts. And once you're going to go on launching your product, the pricing is also very important because that will determine whether you validate or not a need. As a general rule of thumb, there are two things you want to avoid, or at least make better, is at first you want to avoid free users. In the VC world, it's very common to have free plans and to burn a lot of money, get a lot of users, and then later convert those users into paid plans. But as a solo entrepreneur like me, if you have a limited budget, you might not be able to burn lots of money, or you might not be able to bring millions of visitors to your website. And most of free users never convert to paid plans. So if you have a free plan, that might be killing your paid plan and reducing your actual income. So you want to get rid of that. The second part is that there is a real subscription headache going on out there. There are subscriptions for absolutely everything nowadays, and it's much harder to sell a $99 a month subscription than it is to sell $100 one-time payment. This is what I'm going to do for my new startup, ZenVoice. Stripe business owners could use my product every day, every week, so it could make sense to have some recurring payments, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to go with one-time payments, and so that I can validate the need as soon as I can. And if I see that there are some customers who actually use the product and want more of that, then later on I can eventually switch to a recurring membership. But for now, I'm going to stick to the simplest, which is one-time payment. And finally, when you're about to build, you want to choose a tech stack. So if you are a programmer and you already know your tech stacks you're familiar with, that you can build anything on web apps or whatever, stick with it. Don't change it. The customers don't care about the tech stack, so there is no need to change any of the things that you're using. Stick with what you already know. And if you're getting started, this is my tech stack here. I'm using React and Next.js on top of it, Stripe for payments, Tailwind CSS for the components with Daisy UI as a library, MongoDB as a database, Next authentication for user authentication accounts and all that, and Mailgun for email, transactional emails. This is also a little product that I built. It's a boilerplate that encapsulates all those stack that I'm using. And if you want to check it out, it's called Chifas. If you're curious about the coding part of it, I am actually live streaming myself coding ZenVoice in public on YouTube. So you can see on my YouTube channel all the replays from the last couple of days. You will see me mostly trying to debug my own code. Currently, the product is working, so people can create accounts, they can connect their Stripe accounts to it and have a little link that they can share to the customers so they can input their email and retrieve their invoice, edit them, and download them. I'm going to spend the next weeks or so finishing the product before launching it on platforms like Reddit, Product Hunt, and Twitter. The strategy I'm using in this video about finding ideas and building them fast is the exact same strategy that I used to build my 21 side projects. And this is working better and better for me. As you can see here, my hit rate is increasing in 2023. More of the startups that I built are profitable and making more money than they used to in 2022 when I got started from scratch. I'm taking also YouTube seriously this year, and I'm going to be sharing one video per week. So if you want to see what I'm doing and what I'm learning, you can subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, you can like the video. Cheers.